Recently, at a matchmaking event held in Wuhan, a 30-year-old professional dancer, whose weight was not disclosed, attracted widespread attention. She boldly declared on stage that her ideal partner must be a government employee with an annual salary of 200,000 yuan, or a non-government employee with an annual income of 300,000 yuan, and must be at least 1.8 meters tall. Her demands are absurd and unrealistic, even to the point of being detached from reality. Following this, someone raised the question, do these women really not realize how unrealistic these standards are?
More and more young men are starting to look overseas, towards countries like Vietnam, Bangladesh, and other poor rural areas.
After watching the news about the high-end matchmaking event in Wuhan, I have a lot of thoughts. There were 800 women attending, but not a single man showed up.
Your 3,000 yuan salary isn't even enough to buy me a set of makeup. The male contestant, surprised, said, I really wonder how much you earn in a month to afford your own lifestyle. The argument grew increasingly heated until, in the end, all the female contestants turned off their lights. The male contestant took a deep breath as he gazed at the darkened stage. Then, with a smile, he addressed the audience. Since you all look down on me because of my income, I suppose there's no need to continue hiding the truth. In reality, I successfully started my own business a few years ago, and my current net worth is 5.7 billion yuan. The audience erupted into a frenzy, and many female contestants displayed expressions of shock and regret. The male contestant continued, What I seek is someone who can share both the hardships and the joys of life with me, not someone who only values money and material possessions. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to see what I truly want.
So a high-end matchmaking event in China had 800 older single women, and no men showed up. Let's get into it.
800个女生，0个男生。
Recently, a highly anticipated matchmaking event was held in Wuhan, and the scene was breathtaking, but the outcome was extremely disappointing. The event attracted about 800 women, and shockingly, not a single man showed up. Despite being held in a luxurious hotel, with an exquisitely decorated venue, and even offering attractive gifts to attendees, the entry fee alone was 3,800 yuan. However, for these women attending the event, none of these carefully arranged details seemed to achieve the expected results.
For context, that is, I think, in some parts of China, a whole month's worth of salary.
Each woman dressed to impress, trying to present her best self. They wore high-end clothes, had meticulous makeup, and were ready to meet a potential rich and handsome man. However, after the event started, all they were met with was an empty venue, with no men in sight. The women attending the event mostly had very high expectations and standards.
I know it.
For example, a 35-year-old woman working in finance, earning 6,000 yuan a month, hoped to find a man earning 1 million yuan annually, owning a luxury car and a villa. A 36-year-old female English teacher sought a partner from Tsinghua or Peking University, with a height of 1.8 meters and a distinguished academic background.
Yep.
And a 38-year-old female entrepreneur expected to find a man earning 600,000 yuan a year, who was caring and romantic, responsible for household expenses, and would take her on at least 3 vacations a year.
Nope.
Their requirements were not only high but almost unreasonable.
Exactly.
They presented themselves as expensive commodities, as if attending an auction rather than seeking true love. They hoped to exchange external appearances and money for a bond of the heart, yet failed to recognize that marriage is not a transaction, and love is not a business deal. In this materialistic society, perhaps money can buy a car, a house, or even an illusory sense of happiness, but it cannot buy true affection. These
Sounds just like what we see over here in America. Modern women acting a fool. And it's once again, it's crazy to me how they can get across the pond and still be acting a fool. It'd be one thing if these women were rich, asking for what they're asking for. But the problem a lot of times comes in when these women don't even have the stuff. They're not even in a position to have, like, to even get it. They don't even get it on a regular basis. But all of a sudden, you don't meet the bare minimum when you have way more money, way more stuff than they do.
women viewed marriage as a game to gain material benefits, believing that showcasing their external conditions would easily lead them to find the ideal man. However, they ignored the most important thing in marriage: emotional connection, mutual understanding, and support.
Yep.
The 3,800 yuan entry fee seemed more like the price they paid for their fantasies of a rich, handsome man. This high-end matchmaking event in Wuhan was less about finding a life partner and more about a collective display of these women's achievements.
Yes, sir.
They showed off their excellence, yet forgot that true excellence is not only about material conditions but
What's that sound like? A lot of these modern women over here, Mad because men aren't interested, mad because men don't date, mad because men aren't showing up to singles events. But all the singles events are is, oh, look what bag I've got. Can you afford me? What car do you drive? What kind of job do you have? Oh, you ain't in my league. That's the bare minimum.
But also about inner qualities. These women seem to live in their own fantasies. They might see themselves as noble swans, but they forgot that no man would be willing to pay for a woman who only values material things. Their conditions and expectations caused the men to flee. In the end, the matchmaking event was left with nothing but disappointment and emptiness. This failure exposed not only the huge disparity in the standards men and women have for choosing a partner, but also revealed the distortion of certain values in modern society. In this matchmaking event, the true meaning of love and marriage seemed to be overshadowed by these overly materialistic conditions and expectations.
资本捧杀女性的恶果正在搬上舞台。
The capital's manipulation and exploitation of women has become increasingly apparent in recent years, and it is now reaching its extreme. Recently, at a matchmaking event held in Wuhan, a 30-year-old professional dancer, whose weight was not disclosed, attracted widespread attention. She boldly declared on stage that her ideal partner must be a government employee with an annual salary of 200,000 yuan, or a non-government employee with an annual income of 300,000 yuan, and must be at least 1.8 meters tall.
So for context, he's about 5'9", making about 41,000 a year, which I think in Wuhan is comfortable, I think, from what I've seen, comfortable living, but not like a rich lifestyle.
These standards, no matter how you look at them, seem less like criteria for a marriage match and more like a wish list. In response, the matchmaker hurriedly stated that someone earning 300,000 yuan a year would probably not choose to attend a matchmaking event. This remark sparked many online comments, with some
And you're a dancer too.
joking that someone as beautiful as her should at least be looking for a man with a yearly salary of 1.8 million yuan.
Dude.
This statement, somewhat sarcastic in nature, clearly indicates that her demands are absurd and unrealistic, even to the point of being detached from reality.
Those six
Following
figures.
this, someone raised the question, do these women really not realize how unrealistic these standards are? This question has prompted a lot of reflection. In today's discussion, we won't approach this from the perspective of gender opposition but from the standpoint of capital and the market.
You see what just happened there? A woman as beautiful as you should be looking for somebody that has at least 1.8 million wuhan or yuan. That, if we take the 41,000 converted from USD to 300,000 yuan, that's six figures. So once again, we see modern women over in China, over in Asia, doing the exact same thing in the exact same mindset as these modern women over here. Interesting.
Back in the 1980s, American capitalists faced a major issue. The consumption willingness of ordinary people had decreased. People no longer wanted to spend money as they did before and instead preferred to save. This posed a huge challenge for capitalists, as if people did not consume, how could capitalists make money? Thus, they devised a clever solution: change people's mindsets to encourage consumption. The media and television in the United States began heavily promoting consumerism, especially targeting women. For example, they spread messages like
There you
women
go.
should buy designer bags to invest in themselves, or
There you
there's
go.
no ugly woman, only women who don't know how to apply makeup. The essence of these promotions was to flatter and kill women, subtly guiding them to consume, thereby generating more profits for capital. This promotion of consumerism didn't just work in the US, it was replicated and upgraded in China.
Oh,
Through the creation of holidays and specific occasions, such as White Day, Goddess Day, and 520, these days are not just simple celebrations. The core purpose behind them is to stimulate female consumption and further help capital gain profit.
dang.
When women buy more products, capital receives more funds, which in turn allows for more media and advertising promotions, thus forming a perfect closed loop. What has made this process successful in China is its unique market environment.
So when they talk about women getting educated, oh, we're educated, we've got this, we've got that. Yeah, get your education, be smart, but it's not really what you think it is. It's the media, it's society telling you something that you're not. Yeah, be educated, but you guys are thinking just because you hold a degree, and once again, I have a degree, you're thinking that you are better than anybody else. and you're not. There's people, no degrees academically, making a lot more money than you. Y'all go get these degrees and then go right out there and make $37,000 a year for 10, 15 years straight. Maybe get a pay bump, price of inflation increase, and that be it. And then y'all go out there talking, well, at least I got this, at least I got that. And the man whole time is sitting there looking at you like you're silly. This is why men don't want to date you guys. And this is why no men showed up to this singles event. This is why men aren't interested in dating. They're just walking away because y'all go out there and get all that stuff that society told you had value. And then when men don't value it, well, these men are bums. These men are trash. I hate men. Why aren't they approaching?
Taking marriage as an example, the supply-demand relationship between men and women directly determines who holds the initiative in the market. The number of men in China exceeds the number of women by about 30 million, which fundamentally means that many men must work hard to please women in order to have the right to choose a partner. Meanwhile, under the influence of capital's manipulation, women have grown increasingly confident. Some even believe they are very attractive and that there are always plenty of suitors, and they can always find a better partner. However, they often fail to realize that their sense of superiority is the result of capital's manipulation.
Bingo.
Now, China's population of older single women has surpassed 100 million, while the number of leftover men is far fewer. The failure of the matchmaking event in Wuhan reveals the negative consequences of capital's manipulation of women and lifts the veil on this reality. Finally, what I want to say is that the ongoing discussion of these bizarre matchmaking phenomena is, in fact, a sign of awakening among single young people. More and more people are beginning to realize the harm caused by capital's manipulation, and they will gradually come to understand what they truly need, leading them to a more grounded and meaningful life.
Also, by the way, go follow China Unvarnished. Shout out to this channel. Go give them a subscribe, like the video.
这个资料已经发黄了，我不知道他已经挂了多长时间。
This girl's profile has started to yellow a bit. I'm not sure how long her profile has been up here.
Wow.
Nor am I certain if she has already found a suitable match. This girl is from Shenzhen, 27 years old, 1.63 meters tall, has a bachelor's degree, and holds a senior management position. Her monthly income ranges from 20,000 to 50,000 yuan. She has already purchased a home, and she is looking forward to getting married. She describes herself as a more conservative person who wants to live a stable and grounded life. She doesn't have any particular hobbies and believes that as long as she can find the right person and be in a sincere relationship, that would be enough to make her happy. Under this girl's profile, others have asked me if I have any suitable matches or advice. I happen to know a man who fits her age range. He was born in 1993, which makes him a good match for her age. This man is a very honest and upright person, has never been married before, and has no prior marriage experience. While I was strolling around the park, an elderly lady approached me and asked me to help her son find a suitable match. Her son was born in 1974, and he's almost 51 years old now. He is still single. It seems that he has remained unmarried all this time due to issues with the bride price.
Yep.
Given his age, I think it may be difficult to help him find a suitable match. After all, the requirements of women nowadays are quite high.
甚至是很排斥、很讨厌相亲这项活动吗？
Have you ever wondered why more and more men are losing interest in arranged marriage activities, or even refusing to participate? Some even develop strong aversion and disgust toward matchmaking. The fundamental reason is that the success rate of arranged marriages is just too low. For men, participating in various matchmaking activities is almost like paying for trouble.
Yep.
It's simply a waste of time and money. So, why does this happen?
What does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Once again, the similarities are just off the charts. How can men that don't even speak the same language be in one mind, one accord? Men are not going to these events. Men are not dating anymore. They're just walking. I don't want to pay this. I don't want to be bothered with this. And somehow you modern women think that y'all are still the prize.
Ultimately, it's because men and women have very different understandings of what matchmaking is. For men, arranged marriage is just a simple "you look at me,
I look at you process. If you don't like me, or I'm not interested in you, we simply part ways.
Done.
But if I feel a bit of attraction toward you and you seem okay, we can start to connect and get to know each other. This process is very direct, simple, and doesn't carry too much burden. However, for women, the understanding of arranged marriage is completely different.
Yeah.
They usually view
Lavish.
matchmaking from the perspective of the employer
Yep.
conducting a job interview. When it comes to choosing a spouse, women tend to see themselves as the recruiter, while men are the job seekers.
Yep.
If the woman feels the man isn't suitable, she'll end it right there without hesitation. If she thinks he's good enough, she might give him a chance to pursue her. Doesn't this seem ridiculous? How can this possibly be a mutual interaction? Men choose arranged marriage because they are typically not good at or not willing to actively pursue women in real life. Otherwise, they wouldn't be resorting to matchmaking in the first place. Similarly, for those particularly beautiful or high-status women, they generally don't lack admirers in real life and therefore don't need to rely on arranged marriage to find a partner. Since both sides have come to the point of matchmaking, why not be more straightforward?
Yep.
Why should men always be expected to pursue women? Actually, it's like going to a restaurant. We go to a restaurant for convenience and to save time. When we get there, the chef cooks the meal, the waiter serves the dishes, and we just sit down and eat. But if we had to cook the meal ourselves, serve the dishes, and wash the dishes after, wouldn't it be better to just cook at home?
house, yep.
It would be much more convenient, right? The same goes for arranged marriage. Men choose it for convenience, to save time, and to improve efficiency. But women expect men to actively pursue them, which completely contradicts the original purpose of matchmaking.
Exactly. And to continue on with that restaurant analogy, it's like these modern women go to the menu or go to the restaurant and they're looking at the menu and they say, I don't like anything on this menu. The restaurant owner is like, this is the menu that we have. Well, can you change it to this? Can you do that? We can make modifications, but the menu is the menu. It's bare minimum. This is not enough. Well, then go find another restaurant that gives that. There are no restaurants that go get that. So I'll just stay at home. You don't have a choice because no restaurants are offering that. All of these restaurants out here are trash. No, they're not. You're just asking for something that they don't serve. They never have and they never will, because that's not what gets money. That's not what brings in customers. If they cater to what you want to do, then they're out of business, essentially. This is why modern women don't get approached. This is why men don't date. They're not interested in women because they think they can come in to somebody else's establishment, change the whole thing entirely to a custom fit to them, and then they don't got to do anything. And as a matter of fact, you know what? I'm not even going to pay for this. Even though you made all these changes, I'm not going to pay for nothing. I'm just going to get up and leave. Nah.
If men really wanted to pursue women, they could take the initiative in real life. So why choose matchmaking? If women don't change this mindset, they may face an awkward situation where no man wants to participate in arranged marriage with them in the future. Therefore, if women don't adjust their attitude, they might end up with no opportunities for matchmaking at all.
为什么现在很多男孩子他找不到对象？
Why is it that many young men nowadays can't find a partner? Why do many young men feel no happiness in marriage, or even begin to fear it, leading to what is known as marriage phobia? They no longer believe in marriage. Why is this happening? Moreover, the divorce rate is soaring, even reaching 50 to 60%, and in some places, it has even gone as high as 70%. At the same time, more and more women in society are engaging in behaviors such as fraudulently obtaining bride price and money.
Oh my.
Faced with this situation, many young men have become particularly cautious. It's difficult for them to find women who can lead a stable life in their local area. First, many young men have a small social circle. They are very busy with work and don't have much time to meet women.
Yep.
Also, many young men have introverted personalities and lack good communication skills and emotional intelligence. They don't even know how to start a conversation. Therefore, even when they have the opportunity to meet women, they lack the ability to communicate and connect with them deeply.
I would say to that, there is a lot of modern women out here that don't have that skill either, right? Or maybe let's say they do have that skill. right? And not to say that men should not be working on that. There are a lot of things that modern women do that men are way better at. And so what happens is, instead of modern women saying, okay, you know what, you can improve on this, obviously not anything like putting your hands on people, but you can improve on this. And the man said, yep, I can improve on that. You can improve on this though. And y'all working together to help each other improve. Modern women are saying, nah, you're the lowest of the low. I don't have to take that. And the man is like, well, I was willing to take on the things that you needed to work on and help you with that. So why is my stuff that I do so bad?
Nowadays, young women tend to prefer men who are articulate, emotionally intelligent, and good at communication and pleasing others. But in reality, many young men are focused on their work, busy with their careers, have poor speaking skills, and lack emotional intelligence. They don't have time to talk to women and understand them. Additionally, many young men go to blind dates during holidays or work periods, but the blind date process often leaves them feeling defeated. Every time they go on a blind date, they are expected to prepare many gifts and red envelopes for the woman, but most blind dates end in failure, making them not only waste money but also a lot of time. This causes their confidence to plummet, and they feel increasingly inferior. This is why many young men are unwilling to go on blind dates, fear marriage, or even develop a sense of fear about it. Especially when they see such a high divorce rate around them, many people not only lose their money after a divorce but even lose their spouse. After experiencing these setbacks, young men are afraid to go through another failed marriage. After failing at blind dates once, twice, or even 4 times, they lose faith in marriage and start thinking, will we just stay single like this? But in reality, things are not that absolute. Recently, I've noticed that more and more young men are starting to look overseas, towards countries like Vietnam, Bangladesh, and other poor rural areas. The women in these areas live under harsh conditions, and many of them are very content to marry into a better environment. These young men bring these women back to China, and their lives are actually pretty good. Although these countries have poor living conditions, the women there have lower expectations and are often more satisfied with a better life after they come to China. These women usually do not have high standards and are not picky about a man's appearance, education, or physical build. However, if you still cling to the idea of, I want to find a beautiful, well-built, highly educated, and outstanding woman, you may find that you don't have enough ability to handle such a woman.
I disagree. I mean, you just said it. These men can go to a different country, and once again, y'all say that they're not educated. These women are beautiful and educated, and they speak multiple languages. They just don't come with all of the westernized BS that some of these other women in these countries that are high class, high standard have.
After all, the ultimate goal of marriage is to live together, not just for appearance, education, and body shape. If you are not good enough yourself, it may be very difficult for you to attract women with high standards. On the other hand, if you have enough capability, you can find a suitable partner locally. So, what I want to tell everyone is that if you can find a suitable woman locally, one who is willing to live a stable life with you, then cherish her. If you really can't find one, then consider looking beyond your local area. Time waits for no one, and the years are passing by. It's already 2025, and we're growing older every day. Our parents are getting older, and they've been worrying about our future for a long time. Their health is no longer as good as it used to be, and they are often concerned about us. We should think about our own future and our parents' future.
After watching the news about the high-end matchmaking event in Wuhan, I have a lot of thoughts. There were 800 women attending, but not a single man showed up.
In 2018, a highly popular Chinese dating show welcomed a billionaire guest with a net worth of 5.7 billion yuan. This male contestant not only had a handsome appearance, but also carried an elegant demeanor, which immediately sparked great interest among the female participants.
I know it did.
Some female contestants even confessed their feelings on the spot, while others chose to press the instant like button, a rare occurrence for such a high-quality male guest in the history of the show. At first, the atmosphere was extremely lively, and everyone had high expectations for the male contestant. His good looks and refined demeanor made it clear that he came from a wealthy family. However, when the first video clip was played, 24 lights were instantly turned off. Half of the participants lost interest. Even the female contestant who had just confessed to him turned off her light in anger. It turned out that in the video, the male contestant shared his dream: to travel around the world with his girlfriend, vacation in the Maldives, have coffee at the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, savor steak in France, drive a camper van across Yunnan's Dali, and eventually open a small bar in Lijiang to live a carefree life. Although this dream sounded like a fairy tale, the subsequent introduction completely shattered the female contestant's illusions. The male contestant revealed that he was currently working as a front desk receptionist at a company, earning a monthly salary of 3,000 yuan, with no house or car, living with his parents. His father was a worker, his mother had mobility issues, and their family was not financially well off, even carrying a few tens of thousands of yuan in credit card debt. He openly stated that he hoped to find a girlfriend who could build a life together with him and support him while taking care of the household and raising children. As soon as these words were spoken, the female contestants who initially had a favorable impression of him quickly changed their expressions. One female contestant sarcastically asked, "Are you still sucking on milk bottles? Such a naive idea. Do you know how much a camper van costs? With your financial situation, you wouldn't be able to afford one in 10 years.
So you have to notice now, and once again, one of the reasons that men don't date women anymore, they're rude. Straight up. Do you know this? You can't be serious about that. But yet they want men to talk to them all nice and, oh, you're such a princess. Oh, do your thing, queen. You're so great. Not be rude. But they can use all of these words to tear a man down. And they wonder why a man doesn't want to approach. With the RBF, they wonder why a man is not interested in them. Why a man doesn't want a relationship.
Let alone a trip to the Maldives. You're drowning in debt, yet you have the audacity to come here looking for a date. The atmosphere turned awkward, and the host intervened to break up the dispute and ease the tension. However, another female contestant continued, "You're using an unrealistic dream to deceive us. It's completely unconvincing."
So take note that the host said, hey, let's chill out. But because modern women don't have respect and they don't listen to anybody, they kept going.
The male contestant retorted, "Even though I don't have much money now, I have dreams, and I will work hard for them. I didn't deceive anyone." Another female contestant questioned, "Do you have any particular skills? You have no family background, no assets, and no abilities. How do you even dare to dream so unrealistically?"
Interesting.
The male contestant explained, "Although I don't have anything right now, I work at a Fortune 500 company, and I interact with many top executives daily, learning from their experiences."
That should have been your first clue.
At this point, another female contestant interjected, "Let's not even talk about your job. Let's discuss your family situation. Your father is a worker, and your mother has mobility issues."
This is what modern women do. When one goes in, the other goes in, and they never stop. You see now, when the man said, hey, I interact with executives on a daily basis. Oh, well, you ain't doing that, da. I interact with executives on a daily basis. It only takes one time for me to have a conversation. They say, hey, man, why don't you go to school for this, and this? I'm going to put you on. You just got to enroll in school. Let them know, because they already know you, let them know I'm serious about moving forward in my career. You don't know. Then people might take that man on, and all of a sudden in 2 or 3 years, that man's maybe not up there above them, but he's working towards a lead position. He's working toward a manager or a senior position. And now his financial situation looks a lot different. But because modern women think so small, they can't find a man. They couldn't spot a high value man. That's why men continue to walk away. Men would rather stay single. Men don't date. They refuse. Men refuse to date. Men refuse to go to singles events because they refuse to interact with women like this. And they're wondering why. Behaving like this.
And needs care. Are you here looking for a girlfriend? Or are you looking for someone to take care of your parents? Do you really think you can bring a girl home with your current situation? Being handsome won't put food on the table, she added. The male contestant responded, I know good looks don't solve life's problems, so I don't need a girlfriend to be too beautiful. Another female contestant cut in, You don't have a house or a car now. Do you plan to buy them in the future? And if you do buy a house, will you bring your parents to live with you? Looking at your current situation, you might not be able to afford a house in this lifetime.
All of this is hypocritical. All of it is hypocritical because the questions they are asking him and requiring him to do, they would do exactly that.
The male contestant, growing irritated, shot back, Then may I ask what your profession is?
Exactly.
The female contestant proudly responded, I'm a manager at a real estate sales office. I negotiate deals with wealthy clients every day, and I sell at least 2 properties a month. My commission alone surpasses your entire annual salary. At this point, a seemingly kind-hearted female contestant stepped in and asked, You have such an attractive image. There must be many girls around you. So why did you come to this show for a date? Have you not found anyone you like? Or is it that you can't afford to support them? Since you're here, do you think you can afford to take care of any of the women on this stage? The male contestant immediately responded, Do you eat abalone and lobster for every meal?
Oh, God.
Do you consume bird's nest soup every day? If that's the case, then I truly can't afford it. One of the female contestants scoffed, That's a classic case of sour grapes. Just because you can't afford it, you pretend not to care. Your 3,000 yuan salary isn't even enough to buy me a set of makeup. The male contestant, surprised, said, I really wonder how much you earn in a month to afford your own lifestyle. The argument grew increasingly heated until, in the end, all the female contestants turned off their lights. The male contestant took a deep breath as he gazed at the darkened stage. Then, with a smile, he addressed the audience. Since you all look down on me because of my income, I suppose there's no need to continue hiding the truth. In reality, I successfully started my own business a few years ago, and my current net worth is 5.7 billion yuan. The audience erupted into a frenzy, and many female contestants displayed expressions of shock and regret. The male contestant continued, What I seek is someone who can share both the hardships and the joys of life with me, not someone who only values money and material possessions. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to see what I truly want. With that, he left the stage with grace.
Choosing a partner is about reality. Dreaming is a luxury. This male contestant's experience was like a test of human nature.
And as most men in the United States have experienced and have come to understand, this is how you have to treat modern women today. Unfortunately, men have begun to walk away because this is how women talk to you when they think they have the upper hand. They embarrass you in public. Nobody says, you know what? Well, I'm just not interested. You know, you always hear the worst that they can say is no. The worst that they can say is, oh, no, thank you. But modern women, as men have come to realize and understand and experience, have a lot more to say than no. And it's because they think they're better than you. And they think, how dare he try to step into my presence? I'm unique. I'm a queen. And as we learned in the earlier part of this video, they believe this because who's telling this to them? Society. Who's telling them that they're way above men because they have a degree? They're way above men because maybe they make a little bit more money than a handful of dudes? Society. Oh, I've got a bag, an expensive bag, or I've got a house. So that means I'm better than you. I'm more established. I do more things than you do. I travel here. I go over there. Meanwhile, the man is still building the places that you're traveling to, still building on that plane, still servicing that plane. You know, if you've ever been to the airport, frequent flyer, frequent traveler, if you've ever been to the airport, so you can get on that plane and go on these little trips that you want to go on, so you can go be a boss babe and a bad bee, you're going to need a man, an aircraft mechanic, to maintain and repair that. Guess who's going to be working on it? 86% of the time it's going to be a man. Depending on what studies you look at, what years you look at, 97% of the time it's going to be a man. Oh, you want to go to these shows and talk about how men ain't qualified and how you got this degree and that degree? Guess who set this little platform up for you to talk your stuff? 80% of the time, it's going to be a man doing it. Oh, you want the production crew to make sure that after all of the stage and everything is set up, make sure your stupidity and your message gets out to the world. 75% of the time, it's going to be a man helping you to get your foolishness out to the world. But men ain't qualified. They're beneath you. You got an education. You're doing things like traveling and being a boss babe. I get it. But maybe y'all need to sit down somewhere and be a little bit more humble. Wonder why men don't want to date y'all. Wonder why I can't find a high value man. I'm beautiful, but no man wants to court me. I look good, but I'm a 10. I'm drop dead gorgeous. But I can't find a man to approach me. Interesting.